I actually did my undergraduate degree in biomedical science at Brighton University. As a partner school, we had a lot of overlap in lecturers between BSMS and Brighton, so I already knew that the quality of teaching was very high. And I was also given the chance to tour the medical school campus and even sit in on anatomy and dissection sessions, normally only reserved for medical students, and I was really impressed with the facilities. Um, I also knew that I'd be happy in Brighton because I'd already lived here for 3 years, and I really love the city and it sort of feels like home now. So it was really nice to continue my studies without feeling like I'd have to uproot myself and find a whole new city and make a whole new group of friends. Um, Finally, as a partner school, Brighton offered me an interview for BSMS based on my biomed degree performance through something called their guaranteed interview scheme, which really increased my chances of a successful application. I still had to pass the BMAT cutoff and sit an interview, but it really did take some stress off of my shoulders knowing that I'd have an interview place, even if my BMAT score wasn't like top tier. So I'm a mature student, so I already had quite a few years of work experience by the time I applied, but none of it was really healthcare related. The main thing that medical schools are really looking for is reflection and understanding. So you want to demonstrate how the skills that you gained through that work are transferable skills that in the end will make you a better doctor. So for example, for me, I worked as an English teacher in Japan for around 18 months. In my interview, I was able to describe how this improved my communication skills, how to adapt to my language depending on the knowledge of the person that I'm speaking to, how it made me more comfortable in a leadership position, and finally how it like made me more confident and showed that I'm able to adapt to new and uncertain situations like working in a foreign environment. I spent my summer break studying for both the BMAT and UCAT. So for the UCAT, I bought one of the big question bank books with around 1,000 questions, and just tried to work through it for 1 to 2 hours a day. Once I'd finished the question bank and sort of gotten the hang of how they ask the questions, that's when I started working on timing. And then I did the mock UCAT questions under time conditions that are available on the UCAT website. I do think timing's the most important thing when sitting the UCAT, because originally I was much slower than I needed to be, and I'm normally quite a quick person when it comes to exams. And sometimes you really have to decide whether it's best to just guess on a hard question and come back to it at the end if you have time, because you want to get to those potentially easy marks that might be sitting at the back of the paper. Uh, so yeah, it's definitely the most time-intensive exam I've done, but that's the only advice I have for UCAT. For BMAT, on their website, they have the specifications and PDFs with literally all of the teaching that you need to know. I think it's a slightly easier exam because it has the science overlap anyway, which you should be sitting at GCSE. So for me, all I had to do was just refresh my chemistry and physics because it had been a few years since I'd studied that. And then I just worked through the specification, and then just it all went okay in the end.